First year, I think it was 9 million. First year I was involved a couple of years ago, it was 9 million. Last year was 13 million, record-breaking year, which was astonishing. But I think given the cause this year and how can I say, how relevant it is and close to home in a sense that we're obviously hoping that this year we can beat last year's record. So we'll do everything we can on and off the field to try and make that happen. Everyone wants to come to the game. They want to enjoy the game. As I say, they know it's not going to be necessarily the most elitist game, but it's competitive. There's loads of banter going on. And again, it's just part of the calendar now, which I think is the most important thing. And it's the 11th soccer aid. It's 11 years old. And we're playing at London Stadium, which is 10 years old. So, I mean, there's a little bit of synergy there as well. Even in this, it's almost unprecedented, isn't it, what we're looking at this year with regards to City's treble or Liverpool's quadruple. The FA Cup coming up this weekend, I think it's going to be, there'll be changes because what we saw last night with City, with a couple of players at least coming off the field looking like they were injury doubts. So there'll be changes. But Champions League final, we'll know who's won the league by then and what price winning the Champions League will be. Right, there's the fan side where we talk about quadruples or supporters who say they can't do it, we can do it. I mean, it's easier to say they can't do it because the chances are you'll be right. But I think from Jurgen, I think it all depends how he's framing it with his team. If they are desperately looking for a quadruple, then one result will upset that and possibly upset anything going after that. I think Jurgen won't even be thinking about it as a realistic proposition, although answering questions would be if we win every game, then we get a quadruple. Simple as that. City had to go strong because they weren't through. They weren't guaranteed to be through, and Atleti were always going to play differently to the way they played in the first leg. Liverpool, I thought at first were taking it a bit easy, and I think I fell into the trap that everyone else did when they saw the lineup. It was like, oh, hang on a minute, Real Madrid versus Chelsea. And then Jurgen Klopp came out and said, no, basically I needed fresh bodies, and it all made sense. The FA Cup, they got big changes. They have got strength in depth, but it won't be, if KDB and Kyle Walker are out, then that's two main players from any starting lineup at Man City. And all of a sudden that fundamentally changes what City have been doing in recent weeks. It could be beneficial, but I don't think Pep's looking at a treble. I think he's looking at every game as it comes, and it might be in the FA Cup that with the personnel, if he were to lose, there would be a logical reason for it, and that is injuries. But not to undermine the season, because obviously they're still fighting to win the league and they've still got big games in the Champions League. Given what happened over last night, I think Liverpool have got everything in their favour. KDB, if he doesn't make it on Sunday, Kyle Walker, I mean, they changed last leg, the first leg with Aki and Cancelo. So I mean, that side could be dealt with, but I think Liverpool have to be favourites for Saturday.
And do you see them both getting to the Champions League final?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm getting ready to book my tickets. I think I'm like half the Liverpool travelling supporters. They're already starting to book tickets and hotels for the final in Paris. So yeah, I mean, I genuinely think, and it's easy to say, but I think City and Liverpool. And again, in context, when they're playing at their best, there isn't a team in Europe that can match those two. So it should be those two in the final. I think if, as an English football fan, not just an ex-player of Liverpool and Man City, we have an opportunity potentially to see the best two teams in England without question, potentially the best two teams in Europe. And if they get to the final, that won't be a question. And then we can celebrate what the Premier League and these two clubs have managed to do or to build in the last few years as the pinnacle of English football. I mean, it's wonderful. And I just want to, as an ex-player, be proud of the fact that I was lucky enough to represent both teams. And if we can do that in Paris for the final of the Champions League, after whatever happens here in the Premier League, then it would be an honour for me to be there to watch it.